This video shows how to assemble our powered, 3-wheel, marble lift. This lift is part of our modular marble run series. The laser cutting files for this model are available to download for free on our website, freelaserfiles.com. The model shown is made entirely of 3mm or 1/8 inch MDF, but any suitable material could be used. Type Bond 3 wood glue from a small squeeze bottle is used in this build. The files for this model are drawn with no kerf compensation. This means that all slots are drawn at 3.175mm or 1/8 inch. And tabs are drawn at the same length as the slots which they fit into. The tolerance of the joints will be the kerf of your laser. Several moving parts will need to be lubricated. In this build, paste wax will be applied as the lubricant, but any suitable wax could be used. As in the other models in this series, the lift runs 1/2 inch or 12.7mm steel balls. This lift is designed to run at a maximum of 40 balls per minute, but could be run much slower. Running the lift faster than 40 balls per minute could cause jamming or damage. A 30 RPM motor is required to lift at the maximum speed, and we have added a link to the motor used on our website on the materials page. The lift fits onto our modular base, assembled in an earlier video. And is secured with 2 locking tabs. This model can be run using a mains-powered 6-volt power supply or a 6-volt battery box. The infeed for this lift aligns to the front ball return track. The track switch needs to be in the correct position. The lift can be matched to any of the runs in our modular series. Start your assembly by gluing together parts numbers 36 and 37 to make the motor cover. Part number 35 is used to hold the parts square to each other. Set this aside to dry. The lift has two medium-length shafts, one long shaft and one short. These are made from the 6 parts numbers 11 and 3 each of part numbers 12 and 13. Small clamps are used to hold these until the glue dries. Smooth out any excess glue. This could prevent other parts from sliding onto the shafts later in the assembly. Now you need 3 each of parts numbers 7 and 8, the 12 parts number 9, and the 6 parts number 10. These parts will assemble into the 3 lift wheels. Start by gluing 2 parts number 9 onto the side of a part number 10. Apply glue to the 2-tab side of this assembly and place it into the back of the wheel as shown. It is important that these parts are aligned. Now apply glue to the single tab side of the assembly. And put the second wheel in place. Clamp these parts. And check that they are aligned correctly. Repeat this until you have the 3 lift wheels. to the upright, number 5. You can now attach track part numbers 20 and 21, and 3 each of numbers 24 and 25. These parts need to be elevated from your work surface to assemble them. In this build, the parts will be on our book box and held by a book. The 2 uprights, part numbers 3 and 4, should now be glued together and clamped, as shown. The short shaft can now have the first set of discs attached. You will need 2 of discs number 30, 3 of numbers 33, and the ring, part number 34. Glue 1 large disc in place. Use your work surface to make sure that the end of the shaft and the surface of the disc are aligned and square to each other. Glue the remaining discs in place, making sure that the shaft remains square to your work surface. Wipe away any excess glue. Check that all the discs are aligned. Glue the ring in place. The long shaft can now be attached to one of the lift wheels, and one each of parts numbers 30 and 32. Slide the shaft through the lift wheel. And apply glue to the end of the shaft. Apply glue about 1/4 of an inch along the shaft. The glue needs to be at the end of the shaft next to the scored side of the lift wheel. Put part number 32 onto the shaft, with the scored line showing. Use your work surface to align the parts. Glue disc number 30 in place. The two mid-length shafts now need to have discs numbers 30 and 32 attached to the end of them. Again, use your work surface to make sure that these parts are aligned and square to each other. When the glue is dry on your upright track assembly, you can turn it over and attach the opposing track. You will need the two parts numbers, 22 and 23. Two each of parts, 24 and 25. And part number 26. Part number 26 can be set aside for a few minutes until the glue starts to grip the track pieces. Set this aside for a few minutes until the glue starts to set, but the parts are still movable. Glue part number 26 into place near the end of the track. The short shaft, with discs attached, can now be fitted into the uprights you glued together. You will need the cog, number 14, the two parts numbers 15, and a disc number 30. The upright needs to be waxed as shown. Put the shaft in place and add glue. Put the first part number 15 in place, with the scored side down. Glue the remaining parts onto the shaft. This assembly should spin very freely. The center lift wheel, on the long shaft, should now be installed into the upright, with the track. You will need two discs numbers 30, and 5 numbered 31. This upright also needs to be waxed, in the areas shown. The inner side of the lift wheel should also be waxed. Avoid getting wax on the small disc and shaft. Put the lift wheel in place and apply some glue to the small disc. Assemble the discs onto the shaft. The 5 large discs are fitted first, followed by the 2 small ones. This assembly should also spin very freely. When the glue is dry on the center shaft, the upper and lower lift wheels can be fitted. You will need the 2 mid-length shafts and 4 discs, number 30. Again, wax the inner surfaces of the lift wheels. Put the lower shaft in place and slide a lift wheel onto the shaft. The wax side goes against the upright. Apply some glue to the shaft and lift the wheel to work the glue into the joint. Add a little extra glue and put 2 small discs onto the shaft. Repeat this with the upper wheel and discs. Set this aside until the glue is dry. When the glue is dry, the 2 upright assemblies can now be joined, and the cogs installed. You will need the 3 large cogs, numbered 16, 17, and 18. The 6 parts, number 19. And the 3 remaining discs, number 30. Wax the outside of the lower and upper lift wheels. And the upright where shown. Place the upright onto the 3 shafts. Hold the 3 cogs together and wax the teeth. Align the 3 lift wheels. The 3 cogs are marked to help align them correctly. The center cog, number 17, is fitted first. Apply glue to the center shaft and put one of the parts, number 19, in place. The scored side goes down. Apply glue as shown. Cog number 17 is marked with a circle and a triangle. The triangle should face towards the lower shaft. The second part, number 19, can now go in place. Apply glue to the upper and lower shafts, and put 2 more parts, number 19, in place. Apply glue to the lower. And put cog number 16 in place, making sure that the triangles are aligned. Glue the next part number 19 in place. Repeat this with the top cog, number 18, making sure to align the circles. Fit the final part number 19. The 3 discs, number 30, can now be glued in place. Double check that everything is aligned and that the cogs are meshed correctly. And set this aside to dry. The final upright, part number 6, can now be attached using the remaining 4 discs, parts number 32. This upright should also be waxed where shown. To connect the motor to the model, a flange coupling is used. A link to this part is on our website, on the Materials page. This is attached using small screws into the pre-cut pilot holes. The ring on the shaft helps to align the flange. Your lift assembly is now complete and can be mounted on the base, part number 1. The motor housing panels, parts numbers 34 and 35, are also attached at this stage and help to keep the upright square to the base. Next you need parts numbers 27 and 28, and the two parts numbered 29. These will make the ball in feed. As mentioned in the introduction, this model can be powered from a mains-powered 6-volt power supply or from a 6-volt battery box. Either of these power sources connect to the model using a 5.5mm jack plug. The battery box used did not come with a jack plug, so one was soldered on. This channel is not trying to teach people how to solder. There are much better channels on YouTube for that. The joined wires were insulated with heat shrink wire tubing. The two holes in the base behind the motor housing are to accommodate the power jack socket and a push-button switch. As mentioned earlier, a 6-volt motor with a maximum of 30 RPM is recommended for this model. The wire joints will again be insulated with heat shrink wire tubing. All the parts used in this model will be listed on our website. Again, we are not trying to teach how to make electrical connections. This section shows how it was done for this video. When your connections have been made, insert the motor into the housing through the square hole. The shaft needs to face up for the motor to pass through the hole. Connect your chosen power supply and run the motor, stopping it with the flat on the output shaft facing up. Turn the flange until the grub screw faces up, matching the flat on the motor output shaft. Slide the motor into place and tighten the screw. You can now test your model. Put the motor cover in place over the motor. Your lift is now complete. Mount it on our modular base. Connect your choice of power supply. Attach a marble run. Turn on your lift and add steel balls. We hope that you have enjoyed building this model and that you will consider subscribing to our YouTube channel to enable us to continue designing free laser files.